Some places on Earth look so unusual that they almost seem unreal. Landscapes that feel like they belong on another planet. Places where nature creates colors and shapes that seem almost impossible. Zhangye Danxia in China is one of those places. At first glance, the mountains here look like they were painted by a giant artist. Bright red cliffs stretch across the horizon. Yellow layers twist through the hills. Orange and gold stripes run across the landscape, like brush strokes on a massive canvas. From a distance, the mountains almost look like a giant painting, spread across the desert. But these incredible colors are not the work of human hands. No artist painted these mountains. They were created entirely by nature, and the story behind them began millions of years ago. Hidden in the Gansu Province of northwestern China lies this extraordinary landscape. Area sits near the ancient Silk Road. For centuries, merchants and travelers passed through this region. While trading goods between Asia and Europe, many of them likely saw these strange mountains in the distance. But few people understood how extraordinary this landscape really was. Today, the region is known as Zhangye Danxia National Geological Park, and it is considered one of the most spectacular natural landscapes in China. The mountains here display an incredible combination of colors: red, yellow, orange, brown, and sometimes even hints of green. When sunlight hits the mountains at the right angle, the colors appear even more dramatic. The entire landscape seems to glow. Visitors often say it feels like stepping inside a painting. But how did these mountains become so colorful? The answer begins millions of years in the past, long before humans walked the earth. At that time, this region looked completely different. Instead of mountains, the area was a large basin surrounded by ancient highlands. Rivers flowed through the basin carrying sand, minerals, and sediment. Over thousands and eventually millions of years, these materials slowly settled on the basin floor. Layer after layer of sediment began to form. Each layer contained different minerals and elements. Some layers contained large amounts of iron. Iron-rich sediments eventually formed deep red rocks. Other minerals created yellow and orange tones. Different environmental conditions also affected the color of the layers. As time passed, the layers continued building on top of one another. The sediments slowly hardened into rock. These rocks formed thick stacks of layered stone buried deep underground. But the colorful mountains we see today still did not exist. The layers remained hidden beneath the surface for millions of years. Then powerful forces deep inside the earth began to change the landscape. Tectonic activity slowly pushed the land upward. The earth's crust began lifting the ancient rock layers toward the surface. Over millions of years, the basin gradually transformed into mountains and ridges. Once the rocks reached the surface, wind and rain began shaping the land. Erosion slowly carved valleys into the mountains. Softer rock layers wore away faster. Harder layers resisted erosion and remained exposed. This natural process created the flowing shapes seen across Zhangye Danxia today. The colorful stripes visible on the mountains are actually the exposed layers of ancient sediment. Each color represents a different geological period in Earth's history. Some layers formed millions of years apart. When these layers were finally exposed by erosion, they created the incredible rainbow patterns we see today. The result is a landscape that looks almost unreal. Rolling hills covered in vibrant colors, sharp ridges stretching across the desert, and endless patterns that resemble brush strokes across the land. From the ground, the mountains already look impressive, but from the sky they appear even more extraordinary. Drone footage reveals massive patterns stretching across the entire region. Colorful ridges extend across the horizon. Some hills look like giant waves frozen in stone. Others resemble rivers of color flowing through the desert. The scale of the landscape is difficult to fully appreciate until you see it from above. The best time to see Zhangye Danxia is during sunrise or sunset. When sunlight reaches the mountains at a low angle, the colors become far more intense. Red layers appear deeper and richer. Yellow bands glow with warm light. The entire landscape seems to shine. This is when photographers capture some of the most breathtaking images of the mountains. Visitors travel here from around the world to witness this incredible view. Observation platforms have been built throughout the park. These platforms allow visitors to see the mountains from elevated viewpoints. From these locations, the colorful landscape stretches endlessly. Across the horizon, walking through the park can feel surreal. Every direction reveals new patterns and shapes. The mountains seem to change color depending on the angle of the sunlight. Even the weather can transform the appearance of the landscape. Clouds passing overhead can create shifting shadows across the hills. Rain can temporarily deepen the colors of the rock. The mountains almost seem alive with color. Despite its beauty, Zhangye Danxia remained relatively unknown to the outside world for many years. Only local communities and a few geologists knew about the region. But as travel and photography expanded, the mountains slowly gained international attention. Stunning images began appearing online. Soon travelers from around the world became curious about the Rainbow Mountains of China. Scientists also became interested in studying the geology of the region. The colorful rock layers provide valuable information about Earth's ancient environments. By examining the layers, researchers can understand how climates changed over millions of years. The mountains act like a natural record of Earth's geological past. Because of this importance, the Chinese government decided to protect the region. Today, Zhangye Danxia is part of a national geological park. The park protects hundreds of square kilometers of unique landscape. Strict rules help preserve the fragile rock formations. Visitors must stay on designated walkways. This prevents damage to the colorful layers. These mountains took millions of years to form. Protecting them ensures future generations can experience their beauty. Zhangye Danxia is often called the Rainbow Mountains of China, and the name fits perfectly. Few places on Earth display such vivid natural colors across entire mountain ranges. Similar geological formations exist in other regions of the world, but very few places display colors as dramatic as these mountains. Standing here feels almost surreal, like walking through a giant work of art. But this artwork was not created by human hands. It was created by nature, wind, water, time, and powerful forces deep inside the earth, working together over millions of years. The result is one of the most visually stunning landscapes on our planet. A place where mountains appear painted with every color of the desert. A place that looks almost impossible. Yet it exists here on Earth. And that is what makes Zhangye Danxia so extraordinary. Because sometimes the most beautiful landscapes on Earth look completely unreal,